Hello, my sweet mamas. Welcome back to Life's a Mom. I'm so happy you're here. Today, we have an amazing guest talking about something that we don't really talk about often, and that is coaching, not the child, but the mom. So I want to introduce Latife.
Latife. But I go by Latti.
Latti. I'm going to call you Latti.
Yes, let's do that.
So can you share a little about your journey? What led you to this work with moms?
Sure. So I started my journey because I started doing IVF, and I went through like this whole fertility and all that stress about like IVF and trying to get pregnant. Like my dream has always been to be a mom. And then I lost my corporate job back in 2024, in May of 2024. And with that, I lost health insurance and I lost the ability to continue my IVF treatments. And that caused a lot of stress and frustration and these feelings of I've been doing everything right? Like I was a good girl. I went to college. I got a job. I was a high earner. I was a high performer. Type A in every single sense. I'm also the youngest of 4 daughters and, like always the mediator. So I was like looking at all of this and I'm like, wait, why is it that I feel all of these things and all of this like frustration? And what does that actually mean? And a friend of mine was like, you know what? I think you should become a coach. And I was like, me? And she's like, you're amazing at this. Like, I really think you should do it. And she gave me like the contact for Dr. Shefali Sabari, which I had never heard of. And I started to look into her whole conscious parenting philosophy. And I started to see, wait, I can see patterns here. I can see things that I recognize myself in. And so I decided to take her certification. And since that, I found like this whole new mission in life. And I'm really, really passionate about helping moms establish like a good, solid relationship with their children, because I think the parent-child dynamic is one of the most important and one of the most like the shape us the greatest in the rest of our lives. Like the kind of mom you had and the kind of mom you are is going to shape you. It's one of the most basal relationships. And if we are not able to develop that in a strong and healthy way, then that can really cause a ding in our lives, right? So I'm like, wait, I was looking at all of this help from the outside, but what about me? What is going on inside me? And so now I'm here and I'm really passionate about helping moms, navigate escalating power struggles, break the cycles, generational cycles that really impact them, and so that they can establish the kind of relationship they want with their children.
Interesting. So is there any age limit for a mom, like her kid could be 2 years old and come to you?
Yes. Usually, yeah. Usually that's when it starts, right? Because that's when kids start talking.
Terrible twos.
Yes. So don't you know it? So usually when babies are babies, it's very easy. You put them, well, not the motherhood
in a different
is
way.
Easy. It's different. It's easy in a different way because the baby goes where mommy goes, right? So, and if mommy wants generally to put the baby down, the baby goes down. It's feed, sleep, play. But once the baby starts individuating and it starts saying no and throwing tantrums and having meltdowns, moms are like, wait, what is going on here? Is this like a terrible tyrant?
It's weird because it happens overnight. I know that sounds crazy, but like I remember one day telling my son, no, you can't touch that. And he goes, no, I can't. Or I'll never forget, he's potty trained. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes he's, as a boy, like he'll go in the shower and I'm like, I'm training him, like go in the toilet. Don't be lazy. Mm-hmm. One day he comes out of the bathroom and he sits down and I go, Owen, did you go pee-pee in the potty or did you go in the shower? He goes, Mommy, don't talk to me. Sit over there and go to work. And I was like, excuse me? But then I thought about it. I'm like, these are words he hears from school. His teachers tell him, shh, it's time to sit down.
Yeah.
I tell him, I'm working, mommy's working, I'll come back, So it's interesting where he learned it from somewhere. Yeah. It's not like he's born knowing how to talk like that.
Exactly.
But like, I thought about that and it like really made me think, okay, maybe I need to kind of make some changes here.
Yeah. They're like little sponges. and they start absorbing everything, and they realize like the family dynamic, and then they learn how to talk. They learn how to, they learn how to communicate their needs in the way that mommy and daddy do it, and then in the way that the teacher does it, or the nanny, or whoever they have around them, aunts, grandparents, and they're like, okay, I'm going to pick this up from you and this up from you. And suddenly you see them saying stuff like that. Like, no, you're sitting down.
Yeah. And I could have responded in two ways. I was raised in a household where there was yelling. There was no respectful sit-down conversations. So when I went out into the real world, I didn't really know how to do that. I know that sounds weird because I'm an adult, I should know, but I wasn't raised that way. I was raised in a very loud, obnoxious household. There was no respect. And so, as I went into the real world, I started learning this is not the way people are normally supposed to communicate. I didn't know any better, right? I see in movies also people act a certain way. But I said I could either respond the way my mom would respond to me, but instead I got up and I said, Owen, and I looked at him, I went down to his eye level. I said, do you know that's not nice to say to mommy? That really hurt my feelings. I'm sorry, mommy. Aww. Because I apologize to him if I ever have a moment where I'm like, Owen! And he'll be like, you yelled at me, you hurt my feelings. Because I teach him to talk. Yeah. And I say, Owen, I am so sorry. I did not mean to hurt your feelings. Mommy's very overwhelmed right now. And some people might laugh about it, gentle parenting this. Yeah. But you know what? I love what I see in my son because I see men who don't even know how to say you hurt my feelings. My 3-year-old now is saying, you hurt my feelings because you said this to me.
And bravo to you. Because
it's not easy.
No, I am sure it's not easy. And I know when I work with moms, I know it's not easy, but you are changing the dynamic, and you are raising a man who can be both very masculine, but very in touch with his feelings. And I think that is the most important thing for moms right now, because there's so much talk about toxic masculinity and like the alpha male and having all of this machismo and bravado. But if your mom doesn't teach you that being a man is also being able to cry or being able to say, I'm sorry. And usually women will tell you, if you want to marry a man, see how he treats his mom. That's it.
Yes. And I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to have a husband.
But because you're doing that.
Yes. And, and also I want to add that my husband was raised very old school, but he's also, he's the smallest out of his family. He has an older brother and an older sister. And he was raised in a household where they would say, stop crying. Big boys don't cry. Mm-hmm. But I see the change in him with how I'm with my son. And he's learning from me from the side. He doesn't tell me. But all of a sudden I see him going down to Owen and saying, why are you crying? He'd be like, it's okay to cry, but it's not okay to hit. Things like this, And I think it's important to communicate with your child. Even though they might not understand you, with repetition, they will see your actions as well. Correct. Even with my husband, if he says something I don't like, I could yell, I could scream, but I say in front of my son, I don't appreciate the way you said that. And my husband, in return, because we're very aware that sometimes my child acts like he doesn't hear us, but he's listening to every single word. Yes.
Always.
Yes. So anyways, I want to ask you another question. So you talk a lot about hidden patterns. What are some of the most common ones that you see in moms specifically?
Yeah. So a lot of the anger, a lot of the yelling, and because usually when we raise our voice, we tend to think, I'm making myself clearer, or I'm making the boundary more steady.
Right.
I'm making myself heard, and he's going to know he can't mess with me anymore.
Right.
But they're not doing it because they're angry at their child. They're just doing it because the situation is so out of control that they just yell. But then comes the pattern, right? The guilt. And it's like, why did I yell? I've learned the books. I've studied the scripts. I know I shouldn't be yelling, but why am I doing it? And it's usually because it is a hidden pattern. It's because you've either grown up in a household that was explosive, sort of what you mentioned. And like you learned that yelling is the way to communicate and is the way to get your point across, or because you really think I have to put a stop to this. If I don't stop the behavior of my child right now, if I don't teach him boundaries, he's going to grow up to not respect authority. He's going to grow up to not be a good child, to not be successful. He needs to sort of fit into the mold. So I need to do something immediately. And that comes from this pattern of trying to curb a behavior that hasn't even developed. It's all very fear-based.
Right. And I don't like the fear-based because I had that growing up.
Yeah.
I remember my mom would say, I'm calling your dad. And oh my God, I would shake in my boots. And I was like, anything not to call my father,
Exactly.
and I don't want my kids to feel that. I don't think it's right. And I want them to be able to come to me and talk to me and not fear me.
Yeah. And you're not alone. A lot of moms, and my mom would always tell me that as well growing up. She would always be like, I'm going to tell your dad. I'm going to tell your dad. And I would be like, oh my God, what? Because my mom was usually the explosive one. She was stay-at-home mom. She was the one that was always there. My dad was always working. So it was this whole persona, right? That if dad found out, then that's it. Game over.
Right.
Right.
So yes. And I want to change the narrative around that. I want instead of my son saying, oh my God, or excuse my French, oh shit, I don't want my mom to find out.
Yeah.
I want him to say, oh shit, I got to tell my mom.
Yes.
That's what my goal is. I'm not your friend, because I mean, yes, I am your friend, but there's also, there's different ways of showing him that I'm the authority as well in a respectful way.
Yes. And that's what you want. You want them to be able to say, Mom, I messed up today at school. I did something really bad. I shoved my best friend. Right. And for you to be like, instead of being like, oh my God, why did you do that? You were raised better than that. Blah, blah, blah. You could be like, well, why?
Right.
Why did you? And thank you for telling me that, because now we can fix it.
Right. And they'll learn by themselves to, when they're older and they're teenagers and I'm not cool anymore. Right. Exactly. Now it's all about me. They're going to learn to also like, why am I feeling this? Why am I feeling this way? What is the root of the issue of why I'm feeling upset right now?
Exactly.
We need to adults need to start doing this too.
Exactly.
But you're right. I think it starts at an early age. It's a practice, right?
It's a muscle. It's a muscle. It's muscle memory. Because if you react and if they tell you, like I hit so-and-so today at preschool and you react badly, they're going to remember that.
Right.
And they're going to be like, well, the next time I'm just going to lie.
Lie comes from fear.
Exactly.
Yes. I've done research too, girlfriend.
Yes, you have. Exactly. So if you, the way you react is the way that they are going to learn how to manage you as well. If mommy can't handle the truth, I'm going to give her a version of the truth that she can handle.
Right. Right. No, I agree with you. And I hear this all the time also from my husband. I hope my mother-in-law's not listening. We're like, I don't want to hear my mom bitch. So I just said that. And I was like, and I think to myself, I don't want my son, I don't want to be that kind of mom. Exactly. I want my son to be like, I want him to tell me things.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
But why do so many of us feel triggered by our kids in ways that we don't fully understand?
So it's actually a neurobiological response. So what happens is the patterns you learned as a kid are sort of ingrained in you. But then there's also this funny thing called fight or flight. So when our kid goes into a meltdown in the middle of a supermarket, we've all been there. I'm an auntie, so I know what it's like. The immediate response is like, oh shit, what am I going to do? I feel embarrassed. I feel upset. I want him to stop crying. So you know how many moms I've seen that have abandoned their carts, like literally abandoned their carts in the middle of the supermarket, just picked up the kid and ran out because it was just too much to handle. They don't want to hit the kid. They don't want to scream at the kid. They don't want to feel judged in the middle of the supermarket. So they just run out like if somebody's chasing them or if the whole world is just sitting there in judgment, watching how they're parenting their kid. So it's literally, they are in flight mode. I need to get the hell out. I need to walk away from this as quickly as possible because in the comfort of my car or in the privacy of my car, I can handle it better.
Right.
But in front of the entire world, I can't. It's too much. Or they fight. And fighting usually is yelling, punishment. If you continue doing that, you're not going to get X, Y, Z. I'm going to leave you here. That's a big one.
Mhm.
You either get up now or I'm going to leave you. But then what does that teach your kid? Whenever I have big emotions, mommy abandons,
Wow. Wow.
right?
Wow.
Mommy can't handle my big emotions, right? She's going to leave me. So I better clock them so that she doesn't abandon me. So love becomes conditional into I have to act a certain way so that mommy doesn't leave me.
Yeah. Now that was triggering for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, but it's good, you know?
You want to share?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just, I was neglected all my life.
I'm so
And
sorry.
I would never
I'm
want
so
my
sorry.
son to feel that way. So that hit home.
Yeah.
And I've had moments that he triggered me, and when he's had a tantrum, and I've said that. And when you said that, I'm like, wow, like, and again, I'm learning. I'm not going to be perfect.
No, and it's never about perfection. I want to be super clear to all the mamas hearing us right now. It's never about perfection. It's not
Yeah.
about
And there's no
shame.
judgment,
No, absolutely not. Whatever you did, you did because at that time, those are the tools you have.
Yeah.
And it's never about, you're never going to be 100% perfect. And any person that wants to be 100% perfect, take it from me because I played that role. It just backfires. There comes a point where life comes calling and says, okay, you gotta ease up, girlfriend, because
Yeah.
this is not going to get you to where you want to be.
Right. Yeah. But I think it's important for moms to hear this conversation because we don't talk about it.
We don't.
Because we're scared to be judged. We're scared, and that a lot of people actually suffer from the people pleasing tendencies,
Oh, hell yeah.
I
And
still
most
do.
women, yeah.
I'm sorry. Stop saying sorry. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Stop saying sorry. Avery and I spoke
Okay,
about this.
I'll stop. But I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear you.
So
Yes.
I think it's important for moms to hear this. So I'm so happy that we're talking about it. And even me getting emotional, I think it's good for moms to see because some moms think I have a perfect life. They see my Instagram and I'm doing all these events. And like, I have moments where I literally break down. I even sent Avery a video. I was breaking down one day. I was just so overwhelmed. And I picked up my son and I was still kind of teary and he was in the back. And I was like, I wanted to take a video. And I was like, I'm going to show the moms this moment, like with tears and everything.
Yeah.
Because life is not perfect.
No.
And you're going to have fuck ups, excuse my French, but
Yes.
it just happens. But you spoke about autopilot. So what does autopilot parenting look like in real life?
So when I talk about autopilot, it's really like those reactions where it's like, to go back to the supermarket,
Yes.
right? When you grab your kid, you abandon the cart, you're suddenly in your car and you're like, wait, what? Why did I just do that? Like, what the hell? I just spent 45 minutes picking groceries and the perfect apple. And here I am without apples, no dinner for tonight. The kid is calm and I'm without they have to go back into the supermarket and redo it all again. So that's what I mean with autopilot reactions. It's when you're sort of so overwhelmed by the whatever's happening on the outside that you're unable to control your nervous system and you just react. And then when you come to think about it, you're like, wait, why did I do that? And how can I change it? Right. So it's about learning, going back to what we were talking about, like muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
It's about learning. So it's like you train, just like you train in the gym, just like you train how to calm your nervous system. And some things work for some people, some things work like different things work for different people, right? Whether it's breathing,
right,
whether it's taking a pause, whether it's sometimes I even tell moms, if you need to walk away, put yourself in the bathroom for a second, throw some cold water in your face and then come out. That's perfectly fine. But you need to find something that causes that, like, I need a minute. I need a reset. Sort of like when your iPhone is like going berserk and you have to like shut it off and shut it back on.
Yep.
Yes, that's exactly what we're looking for.
Exactly. So how can a mom work on that? How can a mom, she firstly, in order to start getting better, I don't know how else to word it, but like, how can she start because for example, let's go back to the grocery store situation because we've all been there.
Yeah.
Do we go down to their levels while they're screaming, and just like, sometimes I do this at home, but I've never had a situation at the grocery store with doing this, but I'll go down and I'll say, "Are you angry?" And he'll be like, "I'm angry." I'm like, "Do you want a hug?" And sometimes he really will look at me and be like, "Yes."
Yes.
And that calms him down.
Yes.
Sometimes they just need a hug. They don't know how to verbalize that.
They
Even
don't.
as adults, when I'm angry and I need a hug, I can't even tell my husband, "Just hug me."
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think you've hit the nail on the head. If we as adults sometimes don't even know what we need, we're upset and everything bothers us, and everything our husband says is like,
Shut up.
Shut up. Like, why are you even talking? Can you like disappear? Can I have like a little magic button and have you like move out of the house for like an hour?
Oh my, yeah.
If we can't verbalize it, how do we expect a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old to say, this is what I need from you right now?
Right.
This is how I feel. They don't have the tools.
No.
They don't have the skills. They don't have the training to say, well, mommy, let me tell you.
I wrote a synopsis of
let me give you the summary of what happened today.
That's so funny.
So I think what's important there is to really understand that they usually get regulated by your nervous system. So if they see that you are calm, cool, and collected, they'll be like, okay, it's okay to feel this way. It's okay to get upset. And mommy's not going to walk away or feel mad or feel embarrassed. And I think what you just said is great. Like, are you angry right now? Or, oh, you want gummies? I'm sorry. No.
Yeah.
Mommy said no. I understand you want gummies.
Right.
Mommy wants cookies too all the time. I want to eat all the Oreos, but I can't.
Yeah.
Because they're not good for you. Yeah. So I understand you're angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah.
But I'm teaching you not to like indulge. And it's okay that you're mad at mommy right now. But you have to hold the boundary as well. Because
of course,
most moms, what happens is like, fine.
Right.
Just grab the gummies.
Because it's easier. It's easier. But, I noticed with my son, as he gets older and he understands more, when I explain things to him, like us, when our bosses say, no, you can't do that with no explanations, like, what the hell? Exactly. But when they explain, we have this budget, we have this, that's why we can't do it. So, for example, I tell my son, and this is from another mom friend in my community, she puts her daughter's ear on her belly, and, you hear all the noise. She goes, you hear that? That's an aquarium with fishies. And if you eat too much chocolate, the fishies are going to get sick. So when I tell him that, he goes, the fishies don't like that, mommy, when I eat chocolate. It backfires on me.
I love it.
Yeah.
He learned.
He learned.
Like, mommy, you have to stop.
And I'm like, you're right, Owen, you're right. Thank you for, and I thank him.
Yeah.
So it's very funny. But, I want to also say that a lot of moms do feel guilty after reacting or yelling. Yeah. And it's happened to me too. And I right away apologize. But what's actually happening in those moments when they're is that a trigger? Is that the autopilot? Like, what is it?
That is the trigger. So it's usually because you feel either ashamed or in fear, or you're having like this flight or flight reaction. You feel like, okay, you're reacted. And then it's like, it triggered you to the point where it's like you see the child like having a meltdown and you equate that to like a bear coming for you. So it's like you reacted, your brain sort of just said whatever it needed to say to keep you safe because you're not feeling safe, you're not feeling in control, and you're not feeling like sort of your adult self is in danger somehow. And dangers can also be emotional, right? Like that emotional danger of he's not going to grow up to be a good kid. He's not going to grow up to be a successful kid. I don't want him to grow up to be a fat kid. That's another thing that moms struggle. Like, oh, I don't want him to be bullied. So I have to give him like good health skill. Like I've talked to moms now that they're like, I think she eats too much candy. Do you think she's going to be fat? Do you think she's going to be bullied? I'm like, wait, like you're jumping like to like 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And why are you already predestining like this little girl's like future? Because you should be teaching her positive body image and not giving her whatever happened, because that usually happens when you were somehow bullied for your body, or when you thought like, oh, I was like the girl in PE that nobody chose for the team, so I don't want that for my daughter.
Right.
I'm like, well, that was your story and that's your trigger, but that's not your daughter's story. So let's change Let's change the narrative. So that's usually what we need to begin with. It's changing the narrative for parents because they usually insert their own story into their children's story.
Right. I think it's a natural thing, but we have to remind ourselves it's not our story.
It's not our story.
Right. So can you explain inner child work in a way that a busy mom can actually understand?
So I love this question because it goes right back to what we were talking about. So remember that little girl that was bullied because she was maybe, I don't know. They didn't want her on the team. They didn't want her to be part of the PE class. And everybody thought, you're smelly Nelly or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you got the ick. And then we, because children are mean sometimes.
They are.
They come up with the weirdest things like, oh, I don't like your hair, curly hair. And that girl, if she didn't heal those wounds from her childhood, that's when we talk about like inner child work. That's really about going back. And usually what I do with moms is that we go back to that moment in time. And usually it's very telling because if you tell them to close their eyes and remember a moment from their childhood, they'll usually go to a moment that was very hard for them to process, whether it's like with mom and dad or with friends and that's the story they keep telling themselves. Like, I'm not good enough because of XYZ.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Or I don't want this to be my child's story. So they start inserting their story into that. And what you help them do is sort of be like, okay, you got to sort of take care of that inner child in a way, like embrace the inner child, forgive the person that made you hurt or did you wrong at that point.
Right. That's not so easy sometimes.
Not easy because there's also trauma, right? And there's what I call like big T trauma, abuse and all of those kind of ways that abuse happens. And there's little T trauma, like having a dad that was always absent or always yelling, or having a mom that was neglectful in ways that you're like, she cared more about her friends and her appearance than about being a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also traumatic for a child because they feel like they're not important.
Right.
So you have to heal that wound, what we call the mother wound or the inner child wound. You have to show up as the adult who is now ready to take care of that child and say, okay, now I am the parent for both my inner child and for the child that I actually have in front of me.
Right. I love that so much. I really resonate with all of this. Like, it's just like hitting me like a, but I love that because this is, again, no one talks about this stuff.
No.
So no. I really appreciate this. But like, so what's one small thing a mom can do today to start healing that part of herself?
So I think the most important thing is awareness.
Awareness, yes.
Once you become aware that there's something that you don't like, you can change it. If you are unaware that there's actually a pattern that you're repeating, if you're unaware that you're like, I'm always stuck in this cycle and parenting always feels like this battle and everybody else has it easy and all my friends on Instagram look like they have it all figured out and their lives are beautiful. And why am I having so much trouble when I have help and I have this and I have a nanny and I like, why me, right? Why me? Why is it so difficult for me? So they're not alone. It happens to everyone because we're all products of the way we were raised. And our parents only knew how to raise us with the tools they had at that moment.
Right. But let me ask you a question. What if there's a situation, and I've seen this before, where a parent thinks that they had a great childhood, but you know that there was some trauma there.
Yeah.
How does a parent, that cycle won't be able to break. Is it something that, and this I'm asking for personally, like, how is there a way for me to help them realize that?
Well, first of all, it's very hard to help someone that doesn't feel like they need help because But
we all have trauma.
We do. And I completely agree with you. But if somebody wants to avoid it and pretend like it's not happening, the first step to actually changing is wanting to change.
So it has to come from them.
It has to come from them. It's like telling someone, I know that smoking is bad for you, so you have to quit smoking. And they're like, yeah, I know, I read the literature, but I only do it socially. Or they're going to continue doing it until they're ready to stop doing it. So it's the same thing with parenting or with relationship, or even like, because it doesn't, even though I work in parenting coaching, what I'm really helping you is break free from the cycle that you are repeating. It's you that I'm helping. It's not, so that you can show up better for yourself and your child and your family and your partner, because this work actually transfers to every relationship in your life. Because once you know yourself and you're able to have self control, and I hate the word control, but have awareness of how you react and who you are, you're able to be like, okay, I can set boundaries. I don't have to people please everyone. I can say what I feel, and I can say it eloquently without, I can be assertive, because I now know myself and I know what I need.
Right.
So I think it's very hard to help someone that doesn't want to be helped. Mm-hmm. And what I would advise you personally with that person or that individual is direct them towards like books or stuff.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of content out there, and it's just sharing that type of content so that maybe something resonates in them and they're like, wait, maybe I don't have everything like figured out quite yet.
Right. It'll only help you once you have that awareness, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
So I really love that. So why do so many moms feel constantly overwhelmed, even when they have help? Like myself, for example.
Because parenting is hard.
It is. Oh,
and
boy.
You have to take care of everything. And then for people that are, fixers or people pleasers or type A personalities, they feel like they have to do everything. And as much as they have help or they have support, they still have to manage it in their head.
Right.
Right? Like, it's not like you're, here, dear nanny, take care of my child and I will, check out for no, you're like, wait, did she give him food?
Yep.
What food did she give him?
Right. Yeah, no.
What snack? Did she pack the right snack? Let me make sure.
Yeah. Yeah, even when she puts my baby down for a nap, Avery knows this because she goes with me everywhere. I still check the camera. I'm like, okay, he's sleeping. Okay. And when I come home, she's like, he only slept for 20 minutes. I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's why we talk about like the emotional load. The emotional load doesn't check out. Yeah. It doesn't take vacation. No. It's not like you can be at a spa with your friends, but you're never fully disconnected from being a mom, being a wife, being a sister, being a daughter. You're always sort of like, wait, I have to call my mom. Did this happen? Did this? It's very, very hard for women in general to be like, this is me time and I'm not going to think of anyone else, because then we think, wait, I'm being selfish.
Right. Yeah, that's a big thing I work with a lot of the moms because, I don't just have the podcast. I have my mom dates and play dates where, I get many messages from moms and they open up to me about things, and I love that I'm their safe space. But, again, like you said, like certain people, that has to come from them.
Yeah. So then, and I mean, you probably have experience with this. Like, how hard is it for you to be like, okay, I'm going to leave my baby, I'm going to leave my husband, I'm going to leave my house, and I'm going to go have fun with my girlfriends.
You're right. No, that's why my phone is always with me whenever I'm not with my family, because I have to make sure, does my husband know where the diapers are? Does my stupid things like that, you know? But
and of course he knows where the diapers are, right?
Yeah.
But you think, you're like, something is going to happen. They're going to need me and I'm not going to be there. Because in the back of your mind, you're always thinking.
Always. And that's just how it goes,
That's just how it goes. So it may be very overwhelming for moms to feel like, and more so if you have like the people pleasing tendency, or the way that the fixing tendency, that you always have to fix everything for everyone so that everybody's comfortable and everybody feels okay. It's harder, right?
It is. It is. So how can moms release the mental load without feeling like everything will fall apart?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to really work on understanding what they need emotionally and how they can make themselves safe emotionally to understand, okay, this comes from my need to people please. So if I know that telling my mother-in-law not to come today because it's not a good day, because I am not in the mood to cook or to whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you feel the need there. It's like, if I say no to her, she's going to get upset. Then my husband is going to get upset. Then everything's going to, it's like the spiral goes down, right?
Yeah.
But if you're able to say, no, today is okay to say no because I don't have to please anyone.
Right.
I just have to show up for myself.
Right.
So if you learn emotionally, like what pattern you're sort of operating under, you can work on strategies to help you manage that overwhelming and that emotional load in a way that feels true and authentic to you. But you can't do it if you don't know.
Right. No, that's 100% correct. And I definitely agree with you. So, how do these patterns affect our relationships, not just with our kids, but with our partners too?
Yeah. So the same pattern that you develop, sort of like if you are, for example, neglected when you're a child, you become more clingy or you can become more needy for affection. And you always have your partner needs to constantly prove to you that they're in it for the long run,
Right.
that they love you, that they need you, so you become sort of this constant in need of affirmation and value. And that can take different forms, right? Whatever your love language becomes, whether that is monetary, whether that is, service, whether that is words of affirmation, whether that is telling me that I'm beautiful every single day or sending me a text message every single day. Moms are like, well, he didn't text me today at noon. Do you think I'm like, one day is not,
Right.
so how do you break that pattern? Because you understand that whatever it is that you didn't receive as a child, you're seeking elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to have someone else sort of fill that void for you and become that person for you. And it's not fair for our partners.
Right.
And it happens the other way around, right?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Like
I
your
know.
husband.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah. So the husband is also seeking something from their partner
Right.
that they didn't get when they were growing up.
Right. Yeah, no, it makes total sense. So, if a mom is listening and feels stuck, overwhelmed, and reactive, what are 3 things that she can start doing right away?
So I think the first thing she can do is give herself grace, understand that she's not doing it wrong. Forgive herself, because I think a lot of moms get stuck in this sort of guilt and shame and saying, I am failing as a mom. I am not doing it right. I'm hearing this and they have it all figured out. They know I hear this. I hear Nicole and she gets down to her son's level and she talks to him really calmly. So it's like, no, but they don't see them maybe many hundreds of times that you actually do lose it.
Oh yeah.
And you feel, not great. And you
Mhm.
go into your room and you're like, should have done that better. uh, so I think the first thing is understanding that no one is perfect. Give themselves grace, give themselves, the opportunity to say, I'm not failing. I'm just doing the best I can. So that's like my main message. Second message would be give yourself the space to understand what it is that is triggering you. So even if I usually tell them the 4x4x4 method. So it's like breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and release for 4 seconds. It just gives you that little pause, just gives you a moment to calm your nervous system.
Get
That's
that oxygen in your brain.
Exactly. And it regulates you, right? So you feel overwhelmed, just use this. It's a very simple tip. You can start using it today and you don't need to do all the work, but I always recommend doing the actual work, but that's very easy. And the third thing is understanding that your child's behavior is not a reflection on you as a parent, and to not see is at defiance or that they are not following authority and that their life is going to be ruined, but rather as information. Take your child's behavior as information. What is he trying to communicate? What is he or she trying to communicate to you? And take that and sort of understand that, the power struggle usually happens because the child is acting in a way that we interpret as defiance, disrespect, or, some sort of, oh my God, he's gone astray. And it's really about, he's trying to say, I don't have the tools to tell you what I feel. I don't have the skills to act how I feel, or I am just telling you I'm unhappy right now, or so take it as information.
I love that so much. Well, Latti,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here on Life's a Mom. I really appreciate it. We've learned so much. And to all the listeners, I'm going to link all our information in the description. Thank you for being here. And remember, you're doing better than you think. See you next week. Bye.